Hi everybody, my name is Caden.
I'm Jaden.
I'm Eli.
I'm Jason. And we are the Yahuwah and the Torah YouTube channel. We thank you guys very, very much for being a part of us. We thank you very much for listening to the word of our Creator through this. We are the family who believes through scriptures that the laws, statutes, and commandments that are found in the Torah, which is Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, is the guide for life. That is the way forward. It is the only way forward, and it is the way to the kingdom to come. And the kingdom to come is the world after this that we are all looking forward to, because we are all in the world of the devil's lands. We are all in a place where the devil reigns supreme and where the world has completely turned into full-on submission to him, where he is the leader of the land. And we were always told of these times. We knew of these times. The scriptures tells us of these times, and it tells us of an end times when the powers that be are in full control. And it absolutely looks like that right now. The world that we live into is completely lockstep from one country to the next. It doesn't matter what it is, and you could see this in the events of 2020 and 2021, that the entire world conformed, not one single place. There's very few, let me just say there's very, very few that didn't conform, but most of the world conformed to the New World Order, and they conformed to the ways of Hasatan, and the world is now very sick. And so we will leave it at that. But if you are part of Yah's kingdom, if you are part of his family, then we have a lot of hope. And the hope is in the future. The hope is in the world to come. And the hope is in that our Creator loves us enough that he gave us a law, statutes, and commandments, and told us to keep them if we want to be his people. And that's what we are trying to get people to do. So we are trying to get people to study these laws, love our Creator, love his ways, because time is very short for all of us. None of us know if we will be here tomorrow. None of us know if we will make it through the end of today. None of us know when our last breath will be. But we do know that eternity is forever. And when the lights are out on this realm, then the lights will turn on in another realm, and we need to be ready for that. And if we are not ready, then it's very, very dire, and it's going to be a very dire time. So, gentlemen, how are you guys doing?
Good.
What's going on? You guys are a little spunky this morning. Everybody seems a little spunky. Kate, can you? Are you good?
Yeah.
Sure. Are you sure you're good?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Everyone good?
Yeah,
Wow,
I'm good.
you guys are really, really quiet. Any jokes? Anyone have anything?
No, I don't.
Nothing. Not a single joke. You guys don't have any old jokes.
Nah.
Wow, you guys are dead. All right, well, let's begin. Here we are. Joshua 8 is where we are at right now. Is it Joshua 9? I think it's 9 is where we are at. Somebody give me a recap of where we are to this point. What's happening right here? We just got done with the...
So a couple of years back, they defeated Jericho. They marched around there 100 days, 7 times on the 7th day. They destroyed that, and then a guy named, I think it was Akon, he went and stole something that was supposed to be put on the ban, which means it was supposed to be burned, not touched, but he took it because he got, I guess, greedy. And he took it, hid it under his tent, and now he is, he died before he got stoned and then burned. And then they went up and defeated another place, and they ambushed them they faked an attack on the front side, and then they attacked them from the back when they all sent all the army out. So they destroyed that land, and they are now conquering the lands.
Yep. Okay. So what we're going to read today, and I won't spoil this, but this is one of the reasons that we absolutely need to be in contact with our Elohim Most High. Why we need to ask him about everything. We need to have him help us, guide us in our lives, in our endeavors, in our projects, in our world. Everything that we have, we need to bring it to our Creator. And our Creator knows a lot of this. He knows everything. There's nothing he doesn't know. But what we do know is that he cares about all of us. And so when we have problems, when we have issues, when we have things, when we don't know, when we have indecisions, when we don't know what to do, we need to bring it to our Creator. And if we don't, we're going to create a mistake that could potentially be a mistake for all time. Because today, the Israelites make a mistake that cost everything, even to this point. Probably one of the greatest mistakes of their entire lives for all generations will happen in today's story. You guys ready?
Yep.
Okay. And it came to be, when all the sovereigns who were beyond the Ardean, in the hills and in the low country, and in all the coasts and the great sea toward Lebanon, the Kittite and the Amorite and the Canaanite and the Perizzite and the Kiwite and the Jebusite heard, they gathered together to fight with Yahushua and Yisrael with one accord. And the inhabitants of Gibeon heard what Yahushua had done to Jericho and Ai, and they acted slyly and went and pretended to be envoys. And they took old sacks on their donkeys, old wineskins torn and mended, and old and patched sandals on their feet, and old garments on themselves. And all the bread of their provision was dry. It was crumbs. And they went to Yahushua, to the camp at Gilgal, and said to him and to the men of Yisrael, we have come from a far land, and now make a covenant with us. But the men of Yisrael said to the Kiwites, it could be that you dwell in our midst. So how would we make a covenant with you? And they said to Yahushua, we are your servants. And Yahushua said to them, who are you, and where do you come from? So they said to him, from a land very far off, your servants have come, because of the name of Yahuwah, your Elohim. For we have heard the report of him, and all that he did in Mitzrayim, and all that he had done to the two sovereigns and the Amorites, who were beyond the Ardean, to Sihon, sovereign of Keshbon, and Og, sovereign of Bashan, who was at Ashtaroth. So our elders and all our inhabitants of our land spoke to us, saying, take food with you for the journey, and go to meet them, and say to them, we are your servants, and now make a covenant with us. The bread of ours we took hot for our provision from our houses on the day we left to come to you. But now, see, it is dry, and it is crumbly. And these wineskins, which we were filled new, and see, they are torn. And these are our garments, and our sandals have become old because of the very long journey. And the men of Israel took some of their food, but they did not ask of the word of Yahuwah. All right, what do you guys make so far?
They should have gone to Yahuwah. They should have asked Yahuwah because this is an important decision they have to make. They have to make a covenant with another nation. That was something that was a command, don't make covenant with other nations. And
there's also a command about keeping our oaths.
Oh, right.
Right. And so that is a huge thing. When you make an oath, Yah really expects us to keep that, right? What comes out of the mouth is a Loctite security for what you should be doing. If you go against the words that you say, then you are a liar, and that goes against the righteousness and Kodesha and holiness that we're looking for. I find it very interesting that these guys had nothing but breadcrumbs, and then in verse 14 it says, and the men of Israel took some of their food, but they did not ask the word of Yahuwah. So it must have been like other stuff, some other jerky or something that they had.
Maybe.
Of that sort. Anyone else have anything? Eli, you awake?
Yep.
Are you sure you're awake?
Yep.
Do you know what day it is? You have no idea. Third? What day of the week is it, bro?
First day.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay. I knew you were out cold, but I didn't know how cold. Okay. 15. And Yahushua made peace with them and made a covenant with them to let them live. And the rulers of the congregation swore to them.
And these people, they played up to David at some point where David has to integrate Saul's kid because Saul makes a mistake and kills some of their people. So they come to David for some of Saul's kids later on.
Interesting. Okay, 16. I think it's 16, right?
Yep.
And it came to be at the end of 3 days, after they had made a covenant with them, that they heard that they were in their neighbors who dwelt near them. And the children of Israel departed and came to the cities on the third day, to their cities on the third day. Now their cities were Gibeon and Kephirah and Beeroth and Kirath Yearim. But the children of Yisrael did not smite them, because the rulers of the congregation sworn to them by Yahuwah, Elohim of Yisrael, and all the congregation grumbled against the rulers. Now, what did our Creator tell these guys going in the land? What was
Don't make covenants with them.
Destroy them.
Put them under the ban. Kill them all. There's nobody that should live. There's nobody at all that should live. And all of a sudden, without the parental advisory of our Creator, they went and made these horrible covenants against these people, and these people are all defiled. All right. 19. But all the rulers said to all the congregation, we have sworn to them by Yahuwah, Elohim of Yisrael, and we are unable to touch them now. Let us do this to them. We shall keep them alive, lest wrath be upon us because of the oath which we swore to them. And the rulers said to them, let them live, but let them be woodcutters and drawers of water for all the congregation, as the rulers had promised them. Then Yahushua called for them, and he spoke to them, saying, Why have you deceived us, saying, we are very far from you, yet you are dwelling in our midst? And now you are cursed, and you shall not cease from being slaves and woodcutters and drawers of water for the house of my Elohim. And they answered Yahushua and said, your servants were very clearly told that Yahuwah, your Elohim, commanded his servant Moshe to give you all the land and to destroy all the inhabitants of the land from before you. So we were very much afraid for our lives because of you, and have done this deed. And now, see, we are in your hands. Do with us as it seems good and right to do to us. And he did so to them, and delivered them out of the hand of the children of Yisrael, and they did not kill them. And that day Yahushua made them woodcutters and drawers of water for the congregation, and for the altar of Yahuwah, even to this day, at the place he should choose.
So if we learn from this chapter, it needs to be, if we have important decisions in our lives, we need to ask Yah for answers, whether we should make, what decision we should make.
Yeah, and you not only did these guys destroy their generation, but they destroyed everything. Any hope that we had at all as a people of Yah, that the land of the Nephilim, and Eliad, the giants, the corrupted DNA, was going to be wiped off the earth. This was the critical mistake that they made very early on, and this haunts them, their entire generations. It haunts us, our generations. If you guys don't understand what we're talking about a corruption of DNA that never ever got cleaned up. We had a flood, and it cleaned up a majority of it, but then we still ended up with a piece of it with Ham, which was Noah's kid, and it is a bad deal. And they went and they made oaths with these guys, and so very critical mistake Joshua made. Very, 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 very bad one. This was probably one of his worst mistakes of his entire career, if not the biggest, worst one. And so we got to be careful, right? We got to be careful in our lives. We got to be careful with what we do. We can, as parents and adults, people that are taking care of the kids, we can end up cursing our entire family for generations. Long after we're dead, we can end up with that. Same for generational curses, right? The same thing that we end up with all the time, where we pass on generational curses. It all passes on. It all comes up. We got to be very, very, very careful. We got to walk in the ways of Yah, because his ways are right and his ways are good. And so if we are to be in Yah's world, we need to be in communion with him. We need to pray, pray, pray. And I had a buddy of mine who's in prison, who I write to, and this is what he said. And he said something, and it's oftentimes that we get things out of the smallest places you don't think you would get them. And as I'm trying to help minister to these guys in prison, these guys actually write back and minister to me, because one of these guys said, "You just start praying until you start praying," and that hit me. That sometimes we all have that problem where there's a kink in the road where we can't see into the prayer world, where we get distracted and we try to pray and there's a billion other thoughts. Just keep going. Just keep praying until you start praying, and then keep that roll going. So with that, everybody, we hope that you guys have a wonderful day. We love y'all. Shalom.
All right, shalom.